Well, hello everyone. Here to show you that the picture 9 is like you so far as the colors tractor tip coloring sequel right here for picture 9 is that you say you'll buy this like for Metame 25, and is that what I went ahead and drew right here is the details right here. You see is the car's race car, the racetrack is it with I don't know exactly what location it would be in, but if you of course I was looking at a few pictures whenever I drew these right here, but basically is you got these three different characters, which I think one of them is the king, and I think one of them is kind of Lightning McQueen, and then I think the king, and then I think it's like Kimpton or something, the like so far as the car names that I'm like really the characters names I'm like really familiar with Lightning McQueen, and then along with Mater, and then of course it's like with Doc and them, but other than that, is talking about is like the detail that I went ahead and put into the activity is talk about for picture 9 is talk about with the the future picture, and with the future picture is talking about is like of course it could include like a Blu-ray or include any other type of a player it is that they got the Blu-rays, and then of course they got other say media players it is that I think that DVD rays or anything, or they also have I think digital copies and stuff like that. But other than that, is talking about with ideas for what you think that it's like so far as for the next generation, say of entertainment it is talk about with picture 9. Of course picture 9 ideas which I wouldn't came up with, but of course if this was like my homework assignment, I remember that my teachers a lot of times that they wanted you to write a paper, write a report, write any type of do any type of homework assignment related to this topic about it's like to study about really about ancient, if it's ancient China or anything like that. It's talking about it's like how this works or how that works, and if I could if they would have anything related to maybe what you call Pixar films, or it could be anything Disney movies or anything like that, more likely pick a movie, and then maybe because I remember whenever I was in school that it was not a Disney movie. If I remember right, it was the Goofy movie. But then, of course, of course, a lot of the classmates have seen that movie, at least 5 or 6 times, and they could even. It's like every time that they would watch the movie, that they would even, repeat the words that we're saying. It's like that the pile of cheese or anything like that. But it's like that scene for where that talking about it's like with the cheese that inside the inside from that movie, the Goofy movie, and a few other things also. Because I remember that back in the 1994-95, whenever that movie came out, that I remember that classmates were talking about. But anyway, it's talking about with picture 9 is talking about ideas for what I can share is like so far as ideas for whatever that come to your mind. And a lot of times people probably think about with most movies it is that what it's like if it's really the type of if it's the quality, the detail, it's like for whatever that gives a good a good picture it is for the type of entertainment that you really want to see whenever if you were to go to a movie. Is it the fact about maybe the picture, or is it the fact that maybe if you could see more? And a lot of times I really just think that that with especially with Blu-rays, that if people were to announce like Blu-ray with a Blu-ray picture, or maybe a HD picture it is that a lot of times that people go by saying it's like for HD HD TV or flat mega screen or anything like that, any type of sources of entertainment and technology it is talking about with technology is that the good the good picture quality. And of course that the details I went ahead and put right here in this picture right here is basically showing is that you can have it's like draw like a few lines around rows where there will be like maybe a few cars parked up here. But basically is for talking about for picture 9 is talking about is that the type of quality, the detail that you put into the picture. But of course I can't really put a I can put more detail later on into this picture, but of course what I can go ahead and do now is of course to start out with one thing, of course with Lightning McQueen here, is to put some details right here in for Lightning McQueen. And it goes like start one thing at a time. It's like if you were starting from what you call a blank piece of paper, that if you had any trouble thinking of ideas for what you want to include in the picture, is that you got right here, is that talking about beside the Lightning McQueen on that, on that picture drawing right there. But then of course we got right here is like for, it's like if you're seeing, say Speed Queen, I guess you say the name, particular name I gave for it, but you have right here is like you get the, it's like the rotating runner as if you were out on the farm. And you could maybe look at his picture 9 is like a what you call like a comic book series or something like that. It's like I would usually draw like what you call effects, such as if he were, you say, on the track, and then maybe if he were be going over maybe a few speed bumps or anything like that. It's like, well, whatever happens to his little roller dolly, or it's like that little rotating that little rotating thing is like that's to use to, I guess, to do the farm work. It is. It's like go over a few speed bumps. It is, and then of course the details. Of course, go ahead and put like a few color details. Yeah, and then on your hand too, you could probably say that you may not even know really what you're doing. Maybe just kind of draw it out, is to kind of get yourself some ideas about what you're doing. Is that if you want to put a speed bump, or maybe a few of course it could be maybe a few crops right here. It's like a few crops, and I remember that I'm like, that if corn is one of my favorite vegetables, it's like, it's still is, other than the tomatoes, the taters, some people call them taters, other than the tomatoes, and then maybe the broccoli. It is that a lot of times with most farmers, you probably think about is that it's like that's with the type of machine, farm equipment that they use. But I don't think that they use anything such as what you call picture 9. It's like whenever they work out there in the fields, it is. The type of picture 9 more likely would be, it's like what you call, what are you talking about, man? Is something ought to go right to Guitar Hero or something like that? But other than that, is talking, you got the here is with the tractor along with Mater, and then of course with if I were to use like what you call both the blue and then the green marker, blue crayons, it is the blue and the green crayons, is go ahead and just add some outline right here for the tractor. But we can all think about it. It's like ideas that whenever I was in school, a lot of times that it's like with show and tell, that they could probably say about if you have an idea that comes to your mind, let us know, and like if you like to share it, like to show us exactly about what it does and stuff. And I remember that one of those activities, of course, was related to school, and then they want you to write something related to that a bubble gum. That I don't know if I've told everybody this story before, but that they wanted you to write a paper about a bubble gum, that a type of bubble gum that you can buy, maybe not in the package, but that what it could do. And then they would give everybody, it's like all the classmates, a form to fill out about. It's like the type of whenever you chew it, I guess, what does it help you do or whatever. And I think one of them, I think I put was that a bubble gum that would help you fly or whatever. But of course, on the other hand too, that there was any type of bubble gum with what you call the Pixar Entertainment, more likely maybe is like for better sound and maybe good picture quality. But on the other hand too, that knowing about the details, like the detail art, and then of course your creativity from what you call from that artist is like from the artist that introduced. It's like what you call the new step of what you call for entertainment. It is if it's a comic book, or if it's maybe a flat screen TV on HD, Haripia, frame or whatever you call it, that more likely known as for picture 9. And of course the guy right here is like these different colored pens. It is that going about this like for 9. It's like, knowing about, it's like, for like doing the mathematical problem. It's like if these pins still work, it's kind of faded